What's up, everybody? I'm Big Cam and welcome back to another Comically Boston Monday podcast with the weekly nerdy news. And every Monday we discuss the week in nerddom and what happened over the last week. Maybe some Rotten Tomatoes scores, some new movie posters, talking about some new trailers, maybe some new movies that just got announced, maybe some new release dates. But there's also maybe some movie news that will like some updates, or maybe a James Bond director that Amazon has now selected for their next Bond film and their wish list for their next James Bond actor. Plus Batman Part 2 big news, and then some more posters, and we'll finish out talking a little bit about Ironheart. But let's jump right on into it, shall we? Over the last week, Squid Game Season 3, the final season, came out on Netflix. Now, I dropped off of Squid Game after Season 1. So, comment below, have you seen Squid Game? Is Season 2 and 3 worth it? Is this, there was some hype for it, but I just don't know how into it I am. Season 1 was really good, but like, they did like a reality TV show, Squid Game, that was really bad. And ever since that, I haven't gotten back into Squid Game. So comment below if you have seen it. What's your thoughts on Squid Game Season 2 and 3? But a show I'm very excited for, and another new poster we've gotten here for Alien Earth. We've talked about multiple times for the last few weeks. There was an Alien Earth trailer breakdown I did, but here's another poster where it looks like almost a xenomorph is like frozen in the Arctic and like going in like the spiral shape. Yikes. But that show will be streaming on FX and Hulu August 12th. A new Empire magazine cover has Tron Ares ripping through the cover of it, and then at the top it says Alien Earth Inside's 2025 Scariest Show. And then there's a little white plaque that says The Naked Gun, Liam Neeson Gets Silly, and then it says Tron Ares, rev your digital engines on set for the ultimate state-of-the-art blockbuster. Plus, Nobody 2, The Materialists, and Predator Badlands. And very, very interesting Predator Badlands update. With an Empire exclusive, the image here from Predator Badlands, it looks like there is the Predator we've seen from the trailer up close, and we're seeing like the side of his head, and he's got like his, I don't know if they call them dreads, but his dreads tied up in the back. And then there's another Predator next to him here that doesn't seem to be attacking him right away. So it seems like maybe these two are boys. And this guy seems to have like either an electric, like red glowing sword, or maybe that's like a glowing bow or something. I don't know, but I think Predator Badlands is about to show us, a closer look at the Predator's actual hunting, the mechanics, where they came from, what happens to them. Some of them are getting hunted by other predators, so like what's that like? Maybe these guys have been, demoted to the Badlands because they did something wrong. Maybe they're outcasts and now they're referred to as bad bloods. And then there's other predators that are tasked to hunt them down and kill them because there's only, room for honor and integrity in the predator ranks, you know what I mean? And, like, they don't like when people steal their trophies, they don't like when you steal their kill, like that type of thing. Like, there's a lot of rules with the Predators, and I wish they got a little bit more into them in the movies, where if you're just a Predator fan of the movies and you've never read any of the comics, kind of like me, I know some of the comics, mostly from YouTube videos and stuff like that, but like, I have yet to get my hands on Predator comics, but I need to, because I'm so interested in their backstory and like them as the main character, when most of the time we have our main characters like a human and then they're getting hunted down by the Predator, where this seems like the main character is going to be the Predators and they're maybe being hunted down by other Predators. But either way, that sounds so interesting to me, and that's going to be coming to theaters in November, and I cannot wait. Especially after Predator Killer of Killers, the last Dan Trachtenberg project for Predators that came out, and before that it was Prey. So the way that he tied Prey into the animated one, and then maybe the animated one into this next movie, I'm here for it, whether it's Prey 2, Predator Badlands, Predator Killer of Killers 2, whatever Dan Trachtenberg does with the Predators, I'm going to be here for. But speaking of another director that I would be here for anything he does, and that would be Christopher Nolan in his next film, The Odyssey. And I believe this is a poster that we got for this film, and like one of the first posters we've gotten. And it says the poster's tagline, and it says, "Defy the Gods," in July 17th, 2026. So about a year out from that, and if that comes out July 17th, I believe, isn't Spider-Man 4 supposed to be July 31st? So you're talking two of the biggest movies of 2026, and Tom Holland's going to be starring in both of them, and they release in the same month? That's pretty crazy. I think Zendaya is also in The Odyssey, and she's also going to be in Spider-Man 4 along with Jon Bernthal, which is just insane, like, to have such a small world but two completely different movies. But The Odyssey, if this is a real poster and a real tagline, "Defy the Gods" is like the motto of this film. And then it says shot entirely with IMAX film cameras. So Christopher Nolan's doing Christopher Nolan things as far as I'm concerned. Now, another couple movies that I would like to go see. F1 has been out in theaters this week. It's been getting great reviews. It's overperformed its estimated box office totals, which is really good for a movie like this. I am dying to see it, so I might go this week sometime and check this out, because if I wait till the weekend, Jurassic World Rebirth is going to be out, and here's a little retro-ish poster of Jurassic World Rebirth, and it says "A New Era is Born." It doesn't necessarily have a title anywhere, but you can see, you know, Duncan Kincaid, Mahershala Ali, Scarlett Johansson in the middle, and then a couple of the other characters in the background. But the sun is kind of like the old school Jurassic Park logo. I thought that was cool. But another movie that comes out later this week, actually in just a couple days on Netflix, July 2nd, The Old Guard 2, Eternity Has a Price. And this is the Uma Thurman poster. So she wasn't in the first film, and I did just check out The Old Guard 1 the other day, so movie review coming to the channel sometime this week before The Old Guard 2 comes out. And I actually thought it was good. I mean, for a Netflix movie, it's great. But, you know, for a movie, it's good. And, you know, Charlize is great. The cast is pretty good. You know, I dig it. I dig the concept of, like, she's this immortal hunter that knows all of these different martial arts and fighting skills. Like, and you have Charlize Theron as it, so of course it's badass. But who is just equally as badass as Charlize Theron? The OG Kill Bill herself, fucking Uma Thurman. Like, yeah, dude, yeah. That, I'm gonna be totally in for the second movie. You know, even if I didn't love the first one, I'm still gonna be checking out the second one just for Uma, you know? Now, the next project I thought was very interesting, and there was actually a trailer for this that just came out this morning, but if you guys would like to see me react to that trailer later this week, comment that down below. But the movie is Project Hail Mary, and this is from the book that was written by Andy Weir in his novel, and it's going to be starring Ryan Gosling, and it's set to land in theaters March 20th, 2026, and it's directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Lord and Miller, you might know them better as, they done things like, oh, I don't know, the Into the Spider-Verse movies, you know, like, they're pretty damn good. I actually love them a lot. And the synopsis for this movie, Project Hail Mary, reads, the film follows a teacher, who's probably played by Ryan Gosling, who wakes up and soon remembers he was sent 12 light years away from Earth to save humanity after the sun began to erode. So he's trying to find a new homeland for these people, but it's also going to be like a space movie. Very interesting that Ryan Gosling picked this movie, or maybe Lord and Miller picked Ryan Gosling for this teacher. The trailer, the brief moment I saw of it, it did look funny and it did look like Ryan Gosling, but it also looks like a space movie. So interesting in that sense, because after this he's going to do Sean Levy's Star Wars movie, Star Wars Starfighter. So, you know, staying in space, Ryan Gosling, apparently. And I think he did another space movie just before this, didn't he? Called like Better Man, or like The First Man, or something like that. I'm almost positive. Comment below. I think this is like the third space movie he's done. And I mean, he's done Blade Runner. Was that space? I don't know. Maybe that might have just been future. But like, crazy. But you can see like the cover here is like got the space pod and like Ryan Gosling from the New York Times best-selling author of The Martian. So Andy Weir also wrote the Martian book that they adapted into that movie with Matt Damon. Very cool. And the Academy Award winning creators of the Spider-Verse franchise, so Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse. The next one is what? Beyond the Spider-Verse. And they're still working on that, but it seems in between working on the 2 Spider-Verse movies, they were making this film with Ryan Gosling. So, filmed for IMAX in theaters March 20th of 2026. Comment below, is that something that you guys will be checking out? And there's also this new poster with, you can see Ryan Gosling and Gosling across the top, and best-selling author, Martian, Phil Lord, Chris Miller, Spider-Verse franchise, Project Hail Mary, and then it has Amy Pascal, Ryan Gosling, Phil Lord, Chris Miller. Yeah, it doesn't say a whole lot else besides Ryan Gosling. I wonder who's starring with him alongside him, you know what I mean? Or like maybe he just encounters aliens, or maybe he's alone the whole time, you know? Like Project Hail Mary, it seems like this project is a long shot type of thing. Like if you know anything about football, when they throw the Hail Mary, there's a small % chance that it you know, is successful. That's why it's called a Hail Mary, full of grace. God in heaven, please catch that football. You know, like that's why they call it Hail Mary. I don't know if this is the same reason why it's named that, but I do recognize the A in Hail and Mary are both triangles, so maybe that has something to do with space or whatever they're doing. Comment below if you've read the book or if you're interested in seeing that film. Now, some news that actually worries me some is Vin Diesel was at Fuel Fest, I believe, over the last weekend with a bunch of the cast for the new Fast and the Furious movie, and he confirmed a few things. He confirmed that they're going back to LA for the final film, and I think it's called Fast X Part 2, which is really, what, Fast 11, but actually Fast 12, because they did that little Hobbs and Shaw spin-off movie, but never did anything else with it. But so there's technically 12 of these movies, but this will be the 11th. And Fast X Part 2 will have and will bring back Brian O'Connor. And like will also go back to their street racing roots, which sounds great. And I'm sure they'll do it the same way they did to bring back Brian O'Connor for like the, what was that, Furious 7. And, you know, it's been a long day without you, my friend. Sadness. Charlie Puth, fuck you. But what a sad scene, and like it looked a little weird, but it was really his brother that did like the motion capture and the facial tracking, and he looks just similar enough that they were able to get away with it, and then with the CGI on top to really make it look like Paul Walker. I'm sure they'll have the brother in it doing it again, but it feels weird to be bringing him back all this time. Like, he wasn't in 8, he wasn't in 9, he wasn't in 10. Now you're going to bring him back for 11? Like, I understand Brian O'Connor, the character, didn't die, and just Paul Walker did. And you guys have done most of these movies in, like, remembrance of him. But you're also doing it because Vin Diesel wants to make money. Also, the footage I saw, Vin Diesel's got to be getting up there in age. He's maybe 60-something. He's maybe giving up a little bit on going to the gym because he's got a little bit of a beer keg for a gut, and he's looking more like your boy Big Cam. Call him Big Vin. So comment below your thoughts. Do you think they should move past Brian O'Connor and not bring back somebody that's dead? Because that can get messy, and, you know, if it's not done perfectly, it can be, you know, construed and received poorly. You know, people could be really upset about that. So, you know, that's a risky thing they're doing there, especially announcing it ahead of time. But Vin Diesel's not thinking about any of that. He's just doing whatever he wants, you know? Like, crazy bastard. But speak about another crazy thing that I will definitely be into, and that is Denis Villeneuve is the new director for the next James Bond film. And, right, so James Bond has found the director in Villeneuve, Denis Villeneuve. And he had this to say about getting the next Bond film directing spot. And he said, some of my earliest movie-going memories are connected to 007. I grew up watching James Bond films with my father ever since Dr. No with Sean Connery. I'm a die-hard Bond fan. To me, he's sacred territory. I intend to honor the tradition and open the path for many new missions to come. This is a massive responsibility, but also incredibly exciting for me and a huge honor. So Denis, obviously, tons of class, and if you don't know Denis' work, he's done things like Arrival, the Dune Part 1 and Part 2. He also did the Blade Runner 2049. He's done Sicario, so he's done quite a few things at this point. And coming off of Dune 1, Dune 2, Dune 3, or Dune Messiah, he's going to a Bond film after that? This man has an idea, is what that says to me. Is that whatever idea he pitched, or just maybe Amazon went to him and went, hey, your Dune movies look phenomenal. We would like them to look this good for the next Bond film. And so far, like, I think that's a very good choice, especially if he brings Greg Fraser, the cinematographer, who has also done the Batman Part 2, Batman, Dune Part 1, Part 2, so like, he's busy, but he's gonna be there to make sure that our favorite projects look unbelievable. And the two of them as a team is really unbelievable. And like, they're still filming Dune Part 3, I believe, or they're about to start filming Dune Part 3. Or if they're in the process of filming Dune Messiah now, like, oh my god, I can't believe that movie is just going to be nuts. And then, like, there could be stuff after Dune Messiah, and he's just like, nah, I'm doing my trilogy, and then I'm out. If they want to continue it, they can, but I'm good. I'm not sure how fans would feel about that. Like, if they want to continue after the fact without Denis, I don't know if they would want to do that. But there is, books after it, like God Emperor of Doom, and Kids of Dune, and something like that, like Children of Dune. There is stories to come afterwards, but like the rise and fall of Paul Atreides in the first two movies, and then like, not necessarily fall, but like the fall of grace. Like, he was this great guy, and then now all of a sudden he's more like Anakin Skywalker heading into Darth Vader, you know what I mean? Like, there's gonna be a dark old twist in this third movie that's we're not ready for. Plus, Austin Butler in the second film was unbelievable, and this third film apparently he's gonna have Florence Pugh as more of a role. Zendaya's in there as well still, and him and Chani are going to have a tougher relationship. Javier Bardem's still alive. Josh Brolin's still there. So then also they're adding Robert Pattinson for this crazy character in the third movie. So it's like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm certainly interested in it. And then, I wouldn't even be surprised to see like a Timothée Chalamet or a Robert Pattinson or like an Austin Butler end up being Denis Villeneuve's James Bond. Although Amazon's top picks and choices at the current moment are Harris Dickinson, who I believe was just in Baby Girl with Nicole Kidman, and he was like the one finger fucking Nicole Kidman. And then there's Jacob Elordi, which we know from Saltburn last year, and he's about to be Frankenstein in Guillermo del Toro's upcoming Frankenstein film. And then Tom Holland, who we know as Spider-Man. Tom Holland, I think I like the most out of the three actors, but he's a little small for my Bond taste. But that Bond, being a little bit smaller, would make him much more athletic and acrobatic, and we'd see his Bond doing a lot more. But let's be real, you can't be Nathan Drake from Uncharted and Spider-Man and James Bond all at the same time, right? That's just like, come on, Tom, pick one. Pick one. Like, you didn't need all three. Although I would be there if Tom was the choice. I think it should be somebody we don't know. I think it should be like a new name, or maybe it should be like a Aaron Taylor Johnson or like a Henry Cavill. I like those names. I don't know, comment below who's your favorite choice for the next Bond. But one of the other biggest topics of today, Matt Reeves and his writing partner, MATTSON Tomlin, have posted a confirmation. That's the two of them in the background sitting on a couch. And the Batman Part 2 script has been finished. So you guys can get off of Matt Reeves' nuts. The script is in. James Gunn, I don't think, has read it yet, or we would have already heard his thoughts on it. But there were some other photos that were shared from MATTSON Tomlin of the notebooks that he used for writing this film. And 4 notebooks, right? So, like, I've never filled up an entire notebook in my life. This guy went through 4 of them just writing ideas for the Batman type of shit. Like, that's awesome. And, you know, it says the Batman Part 2 on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 notebooks this guy's got just from the Batman. And this is just his side of things. So, like, what about Matt Reeves' notebooks and his writings and his ideas? You know, like, I have very, very high hopes and high faith for this movie. As long as Michael Giacchino or even his son Mick isn't doing the score for Batman Part 2. And the cinematographer is still Greg Fraser. And then with Matt Reeves at the helm, that movie will have the same feel and tone and sound as the first movie, which I think I'm not alone with saying that the Batman from 2022 was unbelievable and I absolutely loved it. Although I think that the Batman James Gunn will be going for his DCU will be very different. But if it's not very different and they just want to use this Batman in the DCU, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. You know, like, have this super fantastical Superman and this super grounded Batman who's facing serial killers and real humans. Like, the Riddler's not a superhero. He's just a dude that's really dark and bad and smart, but a serial killer. Kind of same with the Penguin. You know, he's a killer, but he's kind of smart, but he's, you know, corrupted by this city, and he's like using the city against the city. You know what I mean? Like, and if they do a Penguin part, you know, season 2 of that show, that would be sick. But I don't know what comes first, the part 2 of the show or the part 2 of the movie. We know the movie's not coming till like October of 2027, and they're probably not starting to film the Batman part 2 until December later this year or even early next year. So I would not be expecting the Batman soon, even though the script's done, but the good progress. You know, like, because we've been waiting on this script for some time now. So now the script's in, the movie's moving ahead. It's little paces, little bits at a time, but just like a train trying to accelerate. It's chugging forward. Chug, 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 chug. And the Batman train is underway. But let's just wrap up the show here today, talk about a couple posters. This is the international poster for Superman. I just thought the colors look great. Superman flying through the middle. You see Metamorpho top corner, Engineer, Lex, Rachel Brosnahan, Jimmy Olsen, Crypto, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, The Daily Planet, you know, like DC Studios, man. Oh, God. And then there's this other international poster that is Cinti LED, and it's like of the Fortress of Solitude. It's got all the crystals up in the sky, and it's just Superman walking through the snow. That's a nice shot. But just to end out today's show real quick, I wanted just to briefly discuss something. There was the Fantastic Four First Steps final trailer came out last week, and I did a reaction to it. And at the very end, there was this part where Ben Grimm's The Thing has a rock beard. And I just wanted to talk about it one more time because it looks so good, and like, but also what does it imply? Because most of the movie we don't see him with a rock beard, and in the comics it takes him a long time to grow a rock beard. So either are we going to be seeing him shaving his rock face and rock stubble throughout the film, or is he maybe get put into a black hole or something and he comes back? And for us it's been like a second, but for him it's been many years, and that's how they show the time has passed for him with this rock beard. I think it looks really fucking good with the rock beard though. I think the normal version looks comic accurate and stuff, but like going forward, if Ben Grimm had the beard throughout the rest of the MCU, not like a super ZZ Top, just the one that he has, nice and tight but like nice, I think it looks right on him. I don't know, comment below your thoughts. But also Ironheart dropped its first 3 episodes, and then they dropped a new poster the other day. In this Ryan Coogler, you see her and Natalie sitting on the edge of a building. The first 3 episodes are now streaming, and the next 3 final episodes in the second half of the season comes out tomorrow, so stay tuned for the breakdown coming out this week. They did give us a shot of her like new suit that she's going to be getting probably in these next 3 episodes. The little Ironheart logo in the middle, but also the red paint and like the Ooh, I think this suit is going to be like the magic suit, and it's going to be dangerous. But comment below your thoughts on today's weekly nerdy news and all the things we talked about. Are you excited for Superman, Fantastic Four, Ironheart? Comment below your thoughts. I would love to hear more and talk with you more about Ironheart, because that show's been awesome so far. I wish it was coming out week to week so we had more time to talk about it. But also the Batman Part 2, the next James Bond, Project Hail Mary, Alien Earth, Squid Game, Project Predator, Badlands, so many things to come. Movie reviews coming out later this week. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Once again, my name's Big Cam. If you'd like to follow my other social medias, links down in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do that is liking this video, subscribing if you haven't, hitting that bell so you don't miss future videos. Once again, my name's Big Cam. I will see you beautiful people in the next one.